and didn't even go to his funeral.
Yeah.
That
So what I'm trying
I
to
don't
say,
deal
like,
with that shit.
then you don't need to have these people, and especially over, like, guys, get a grip. Some people as well, like, these people are, some of these creators are like, oh, we're best friends, like, you live miles away, like, you're friends from an app. If the app gone dead tomorrow, like, you probably wouldn't speak so much. Do you know what I mean?
That's
Like,
been crazy
Wait,
to me
sorry,
this
what
weekend,
happened with
Paigey, is
Rickstar?
like how people
oh my
are
God,
so
Torian, did you
prepared
not hear?
No,
to
I
die on
literally,
a hill for
Sorry,
some.
Jelly Belly, 1 second,
Sorry.
darling, just quickly, let me
I
catch
just
you up.
know
So
that
basically,
I
everyone was
literally
coming
just
in,
came in
yeah.
your box. I don't know anything that's happened.
I
We
didn't
had a
even know if he was
discussion.
here or not because she was quite. I forgot how quick everything's gone. So basically, everyone was coming in saying that they think he was kind of using us to look good on the app. Like he's done questionable things. Obviously, the picture got shown. Picture was mad. Not even
What
going to lie.
picture?
Of him dressed like it wasn't dressed in the outfit, but he had a hair and the moustache, and he was saluting. You know the hell.
Oh.
Right.
Oh,
But then
Who's
it was
this?
weird, Torian. This is Rickstar. It turned into like yesterday, or the day before, sorry. It was like the spiral effect thing. So it started off him kind of being wrong and strong. Then he turned into like Angie/Pearl like really quickly. And then he said to Jay, he said something to Jay like, oh, you obviously don't like white men or you don't like white people. Like,
What?
I'm not gonna lie, I was in his live.
Jewish people.
When I was in the live, someone came in and said that there's a picture of him dressed like that man. But then he said, you lot are lying. It's a picture of me when I had long hair. And
no, yeah, we was in that live. Yeah, no.
So,
let me send. I need to log into my Instagram quickly.
This is crazy.
I'm going to send it to you in a second, yeah? And then someone said that he said the N-word. That never got verified, so I don't know about that. But that never got verified or confirmed. Like, it didn't really get picked up. But then that was it, because I asked him to come in because I was like, I heard someone said to me that he hasn't got mixed race kids, because he was talking about his ex-Jamaican wife and kids. So I was confused because someone come in called Amy and was like, his kids are half Greek. So I was like, I was confused, but when come in, he's got like 3 baby mamas. The confusion was he has 3 baby mums with 3. He's got 3 kids with 3 baby mums. So one of his kids is mixed.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like you see when we're having these big discussions and there's a lot of people in the room. I feel like, and I'm sorry, yeah, I might get crucialized for this, whatever. But I feel like these talk should be done on a black person's platform. Not saying that white people cannot talk about it, because yes, you can if you're actually being genuine.
Yeah, cool. But
I feel like if you don't want educating, it has to come from a black person that knows about their race, i.e. Paige, me, or whoever else.
But do you understand?
You don't know who's genuine or not.
I love Paige to bits. Paige knows I've been around her for a long time. I used to have my name as Glenn Mental Health, so she'll know who I am when I say that.
Oh, yeah, Glenn. I wondered who it was.
And I'll be honest with you, there's been times in the last month or so, I've wondered, is Paige against white people? Is she not against white people? Can I talk in front of Paige? Am I going to offend her? And I've been so confused about it.
I think you sort of forgot you had in my bed for the past 3 years.
But can you understand?
I was just going to say, like, I've been friends with Paige for a long time, and she's been nothing but supportive, and I'm Irish-Italian. She definitely doesn't have anything against white people.
No, yeah, I get it. I kind of get it. But like, just look on
I'm coming on here in front of 1,000 people right now and just telling you for reality. Like, I always thought I was quite educated. I thought I was brought up in a multicultural, like, places in London, and I understood things. But I'll be real, in the last week or two, I've learnt more than I've ever learnt the whole of my fucking life. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I'm glad. That's what I like doing.
I learn more every day. I try to learn every day. I try to learn from everybody, from my friends, from you guys on here, you know what I mean? I try to learn because the way I grew up around multicultural people in a neighborhood that was very multiple cultures, I should say. Basically, I grew up in the ghetto, living by myself, but you still learn because there's even racism in there where I lived, and I didn't realize it until later in life.
There's racism
you know what? Even
when I the same neighborhoods.
I didn't think that I had any racism in me. I've even questioned and gone to myself, like, do I not realise? And without realising, I think certain things and this, that and the other. And then I think, well, I don't. But like, when I say, I said a comment the other day where I was like, I don't see colour. I see humans as humans, yeah? Like, I don't really try.
Yeah.
But then when I looked at that and went, actually, that's being dismissive, and that's actually not
Yeah.
actually being fair or kind or the reality of life. That's actually being quite naive, because I
Yeah.
just got brought up where whoever it was my power was my power. Whoever was against me was against me. I don't care what colour, religion or race you are. If you're against me, you're against me. If you're my friend, you're my friend. I don't see it as a difference because of our skin colour. Does that make sense?
Do you know, it does, but do you know what I'm going to say? And
And I hope you
I'm-
educate me on that, because I feel naive.
well, I'm not. I'm not black, and
No.
I'm not mixed up. But what I think when I hear that is, it feels like chalk on board to me, because I have family who are black and are Muslim,
Yeah.
a mix, obviously, because I'm white. But what I would say is, when I hear that, I think people, any people of colour, want to be seen. It's just being seen as the same means you don't recognise maybe the struggles that they've got and why it's different for them than it is from you. That's what I would say, but I'm going to shut up now.
No,
So-
because
Yeah, no, it is true.
It's true. It's
I'll be
true.
honest with you, right?
It's a fine line. It's a
Can I give you an
fine line.
example?
I think it's a situation. It's every
I was walking
every
to
situation
school.
is different.
I was walking to school once, right? And listen, this is a true story, and you might end up having a go at me or not having a go at me. I don't know, yeah. But I was walking to school, and I didn't know the person, but he was one of my neighbours. He lived about 5 doors away from me, and somebody, like a group of people, they knocked his turban off, yeah. I jumped in, I went mad, I protected him, I walked him back home because his hair come out and he was really upset. And his mum started shouting, screaming at me and this, that and the other, because she just saw me as a white person and she thought that I was going to be the person that had caused this problem to him, yeah? From that moment onwards, me and him become good friends, right? I never understood the importance or the anything to do with what his religion was or what the turban meant, his hair coming out. I never understood any of that, and that's just legit. And from that moment onwards, I was always invited round for food. They would feed me. I'd walk to school with him. Everything was sweet. And that's, you know, where everyone sits there and says it in when I say I don't see nothing, that's the reality of what really happened in my life. I just saw him as a boy that was getting picked on by a group of people, and I didn't like that. So I jumped in, stuck it on them people, took him back home, got whatever he needed to be sorted out. I don't understand what happened. But that's the truth. And that boy would to this day stand by me and tell me that was a true story. So when I say I don't see colour or I don't see, it's not because...
Can I just say one thing, Glenn? You know, like, I understand what you're saying, because you're saying it from a non-racist point, but just make a learning sort of point in this, like, conversation. You do realise that you saying you don't see colour, that is your white privilege.
Yeah, of course. But
So that's what I mean, like, so when Tony and that's screaming,
but
I
didn't
don't have, because
understand
he's
it.
been kicked out of pubs and stuff for being...
But I didn't understand it. You know? I just thought it was. I just thought it was things like, you know, white people would play the victim, black people would play the victim. I thought it was very silly in my brain, and like, you got to understand, I'm putting myself at risk for saying this, but I just want to talk because I like to be real. I don't like to hide behind bullshit. So I would quite happily say, if I'm wrong, I want you to tell me that I'm wrong, rather than sit here and be naive. Does that make sense? And it takes a lot for me to come on
It's
here.
always better to have
Because
conversations.
I don't, when I first say, oh, if you're being a black victim or you're being a white victim or you're doing this and the other, I don't want that to be, oh, Glenn's a racist, because I'm not racist. I hate fucking racism. I hate it with a passion, yeah, because I love everybody. I really fucking do. And if you piss me off, you piss me off. It's not because you're black or you're white. It's just that you've pissed me off, like, and I just don't want it to, like...
You know what, I get it, but like, and do you know why, like, sorry, I'll just stick a pin in what you're saying. Not that, sorry, just let me quickly finish, sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Just quickly, because I'm trying to, I don't know if I'm being, like, I don't want to get
please,
I'm tired.
right.
But you know, like, when people, like, when certain, like, white people come on the stage and they're like, I hate, like, racism, like, just as a blanket statement, like, kind of annoying only because it's like, do you think I like
don't
it?
understand, innit?
Like, no, but as in, like, imagine you're saying because you just love people, like, same, but I'm like,
Because
we
that's
are the ones that
how
are experiencing the
world
racism. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no one likes racism, we get that kind of thing, but don't feel like it's this scared this scared culture that people have now created to feel like you can't ask black people questions. Like it's like that we're not scary because you've come up on the stage anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like the conversation's scary, but it's not us black people that have made people scared of the conversation. It's like the society. So because we call out certain racists and stuff like that now, people are like the ones that are doing it, the ones that are being racist. We can't say nothing. You're just snowflakes. We've got to be quiet. We can't say this. We can't say that. Making people. Do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah, I made this point earlier, Paige, and for unfortunate reasons, I think it was in Rickster's live, that so many people talk about the fact that there's no freedom of speech anymore. You can't say what you want. There's no freedom of speech is gone. Freedom of speech hasn't gone. It's still here just the same as it was 50 years ago, 100 years ago. What is here now is you're not free from the consequences of that speech. Because of social media, you're not in echo chambers anymore. 30 years ago, and I feel ridiculous because I feel like I'm white-splaining this, so I'll apologise for that in advance. But, you know, your average builder would go down the pub after work with his white mates, have a chat. They'd all be racist because you're all speaking to the same people, and that's great. That same white builder comes on the internet 20 years later and says the same thing and can't understand why he's getting a backlash from it. I'm only picking on builders because my dad's a builder, by the way. I just like to say that. But, you know, you're not in echo chambers anymore. You are going to come across people that disagree with your opinion and that are happy to stand on their hill and educate you as to why your opinion is wrong. And as a human, you shouldn't be afraid to be educated. I mean, what are you doing here if you don't want to be educated? Do I still think the same as I did 10 years ago, 20 years ago? No, I don't. I'm a 46-year-old woman. I don't think the same as I did. You know, my views on everything have changed because I've learned. And if you're not capable of growth and education, why are you even in these spaces trying to have a conversation?
Exactly. It's very true. Very, very
I
true.
try to learn as much as possible.
As
I
much
want
as
to hear. I want to know.
worrying, and like I sail close to the wind of putting my foot in it and offending somebody or pissing somebody off. But do you know what? Like, I'm not scared of learning. I'm not scared of changing. I'm not scared of understanding what I don't understand. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, for me personally, if I don't ask and I don't get it, then I'm never going to know, am I? No question is stupid if you don't know the answer.
Right, I'm just going to say something because there's a lot of team GG people in the chat that probably follow me and have wandered in here. What I want to explain is that DG played a prank, and basically a bunch of his people changed their usernames to DG Decor. So what that means is that you may have thought, lots of people thought, even Miss Red thought that it was DG. So you may have seen comments in chat that you thought were DG, that they weren't. In fact, Paige, I know on one of the occasions when he was in your box, you thought that he was also commenting in the chat and you seen something.
Yeah.
You thought
I mean, yeah, to be fair though, Cockapoo, his attitude was the same as said comments in the box. In all fairness, darling, like, he was still snowflaking me. Like, he didn't really have, there wasn't anything like racist they said in the comments, but the tone of the comments, whether it was him or not, he had the same attitude in the box. Like, he did, like, yeah. He didn't really care, do you know what I mean?
They've asked me to give it light on here, so
I know. I did say, I don't know. I did say, guys, you don't have to keep coming in. You said you came in it earlier, and I addressed it then too. Like, it's not like DG o'clock.
Paige, is there
and it doesn't really like. It's not all about DG. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no, but Paige, is there a difference between racism and naivety and ignorance?
Yeah,
there's ignorance, unconscious bias, and racism.
Bias, yeah.
So do you think some people, like, they're not prepared to listen, understand, or educate themselves? Like, so rather than them being racist, they're almost like just turning a blind eye.
Racism is ignorance anyway, isn't it? It's more than, you can be one thing and more than one. Like, it all stems from ignorance and like having like a common sense, intelligence. You know, like, if you're downright, I just don't like people because of the colour of their skin, racist. I feel like it's definitely like a mixture of it all. But I know, do you mean like unconscious bias? So can people say things that might be taken offensively or racist, but it's more like the condition of where they've been and they've not because they've not found it offensive before. Yeah, they didn't think it'd be offensive.
Do you know there was a point, right, where Anthony Joshua said boycott all white businesses, yeah? You know, when that stuff was going on with Black Lives Matter, yeah?
He didn't say, no, okay, so this is what I mean, it gets twisted. He didn't say boycott all white businesses. He said we need to start funding solely as
Yeah.
black people. We need to start funding our own businesses. And the reason why we need to start putting our money into the black coin, into the black businesses, because we hold no financial gain. These are the implications of slavery. I'm not going to get in too deep because there's so many things I want to talk to you guys, like proper education wise, we'll talk about this. When we talk about slavery, it's the implications from slavery. We hold no financial gain, okay, within the UK. It's very hard, and there's a reason for it. Conditioning, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things for it. But in terms of our own businesses, not only do we not fund each other a lot, we're funding the companies that are tearing black businesses down. The companies that are trying to take from us, like the businesses that are trying to take from us, the businesses that are not hiring black people, employing black people, all of these things, we're giving them our money on a consistent basis. But the same company or the same type business, there's a black company that's not had the exposure due to institutional racism and systematic racism that has the same product, but you're not putting it into them. So us as a community need to start putting into ourselves, because the fact that we're still having this conversation and discussion about racism on an app like TikTok on the internet shows that racism is still very rife, and there's still a lot of people that are very
In
much.
2024,
That's what I
can I
mean,
mention that?
But you
It's
see what you
crazy.
paid. Can you
100%.
understand?
Let me just
how
finish.
you
There's
explained
still
it,
people that are subtly against us and very like openly against us. Yeah. So we need to start investing in ourselves. Like that's just what it was. That's what he meant by that. Here, you can't boycott all white businesses. It's impossible because we live in the UK. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Can you see how you explain that
You-
and how the media and everything else portrayed it is totally different though?
Well, of
So say
course.
someone like me that didn't bother to
Yeah.
make all my homework as a white person just looked at that and thought, what the fuck, mate? I've supported this guy throughout his whole career, since amateur, right up to where he is right now. And now he's sitting here tarnishing me with the same brush as somebody else that's gone and done something that they've done. And he's now talking to me as a white person that I'm scum. Do you know what I mean? And boycott anything I'm doing. Can you see? I know how stupid that sounds to you, Paige, but will you
No.
think outside the box and
no,
understand?
that's what I mean. The thing is, a lot of people aren't.
That's how I
I
saw
sound
it.
really patronised when I say this. I hate saying this, yeah.
No,
but I was
don't.
going to say, a lot of people are sheep. Like,
Fucking
not by
respect you
choice.
so
It's
much,
not their
mate. Like, you
fault.
don't realise. I respect you so much.
No, thank you. But I mean, there's a lot of people that are sheep. But honey, there's so many sheep, and like people still watch the news and
Yeah.
believe certain things in it.
They're
And
brainwashed, innit?
people like read like the Daily Mail and take it for gospel, and you know that kind of stuff. And I'm like,
Even major news streams, if you look at who owns them,
yeah.
and then if I don't want to change the debate, but if you watched Sky, which is Murdoch, if you watched Sky and listened to the Israel Palestinian stuff and the news commentary on that, and you know that he is a Jewish person, then you would understand why you only got one side of the story there and didn't get the right information. And that's how people have to educate themselves. And it's hard to say that because basically most people are turned off from mainstream
But
now.
you know what I done? Do you know what I done yesterday? I took off all my opinions, all the stuff that was starting to turn me thinking that black people were against white people yesterday, right? And I stopped and I listened to Paige the whole day. I followed her. Every single live this woman went to, I fucking followed her and I listened to her with reality. And I thought, you know what, Glenn? You've never been racist in your whole entire life. I'm not
We're
going
not
to
blaming anything on white people,
about
Carl.
white people or black people, and even though it was starting to fuck my head up, and listen, I'm on a platform in fucking 1,000 people, and I'm just being honest because I don't think many people are honest about the situation, because I love Paige to bits, and I have done for quite a while since I listened to her poetry and I watched her receipts and this, that, and the other. I've followed her around for a long time, and I stopped and I went, you know what? Forget any opinion or anything I've listened to. I'm going to listen to this girl, and I'm going to listen to how passionate she is. I've heard her cry. I've heard her be angry. I've heard every side of her in the last 24 hours. And I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm not going to have an opinion. I'm just want to listen. And that's why I'm here in her live, asking her in the comments, Paige, please let me up, because I've got utmost respect for her. And I'd be honest with you, at some point yesterday and the last week or so, I started thinking, is this black people versus white people? And it started to twist my head up.
And that's
Yeah, it's
but that's
definitely
what
never
they
that.
want.
I had to
That's
stop.
what they want you to believe.
I had to stop.
Because
Do you know what I'm
because they
saying? I
want
had to stop.
they want to cause a divide between us. Like, they don't want you to know the truth. And the fact is, the media is very biased in the way that they present news stories. They're always trying to make us look bad. But like, I just suggest, like I said it earlier on Rickster's Live, you can change your algorithm so easy on social media just by tapping something in on TikTok if you want to learn about something else. And then with the news, like, watch Al Jazeera for a change. Like, do you know what I mean? See,
That's what I watch is Al Jazeera.
just see what's
Yeah, that's what I watch.
I just think we're all like working class people.
Hi, Thomas.
Regardless of our colour, race or religion, we're all working class people.
No, it's true. Sorry, Glenn. I just want to hear from Thomas quickly because I've not had Thomas talk. Bless him. He's been there for ages.
Hi. So literally, I've only come into your live for educational purposes, and I'll be completely honest with you. I am not going to sit here and say that I've got friends of colour and I understand, because I completely don't. So, yes, so going off what Pearl said to Laura, I completely agree that it was wrong, it was disrespectful. So people of colour some people will find it racist, some people might not, for example. So what I'm saying to you is, like, yesterday, people were saying she can use that term to white people all she wants, but then some people are saying that she should stop altogether. So what are your thoughts on her using that to white people? Will you still find that offensive if she's not saying it to you or any person of colour?
No, like, I feel like it's just like you wouldn't call an overweight person fat. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to call them skinny. Like, it's white people don't have the same negative, like, traumatic, like, attachment to, like, being called a monkey. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's not like she was like, oh, my cute little monkey, like, as a kid either. Like, to any child, like, she screamed, you fucking orangutan.
I've been hearing about that all
I
day
feel like
today.
if you're screaming you orangutan to another woman in a negative way, maybe just like, you're not obviously being racist if it was a white woman, but you're still not being nice, clearly, are you? Do you know what I mean? In that aggressive way. But when you're saying it to a black, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not, she didn't say it, it wasn't a nice monkey vibe, like, gooey, gooey, gooey. Like, it was very aggressive. Like, she just said, like, see you and see 2 seconds before. So, like, maybe don't, my thing is, okay, just don't scream aggressively at someone if you don't know what you're going to say. That could genuinely offend a whole community of people. Maybe don't say it or any other words like.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm getting at is
having gone through what she's just gone through, I would have been taking the position of, actually, I'm just not going to use that phrase regardless. Because what she'd said was, I now understand that if my children or grandchildren start to throw that term around and do it in the same way, that's what she said. And I believed her when she said that, right? So today is a new segment. I don't really understand what the trigger was there. I haven't spoken to her, but I just moving on a little bit from that point, but the same thing.
Thank you, Maud. That comment was dumb. Sorry, Karen.
You've heard women who sleep around being referred to as dogs, right? So we've all heard that. That is different because it's not aimed at any specific colour, but it's still an insult, right? So when you call a human being an animal, it's an insult, especially.
I get that. So I'll give you an example then. So people of colour will use the word batty. Now, I know that batty relates to an arse, for example, but then in my community and the town I'm from, batty would relate to an insult for somebody being gay.
Yeah, so I'd never go off and say that in reference to a gay person.
Yeah.
No.
What about it means like crazy?
Hang on 1 minute. So where do we draw the line?
Do you know, because you know the monkey thing, like, let's just be realistic, like, because these are all like, what ifs and what ifs. That's like me saying.
That's not even a what if though.
No, hold on. That's like me. Just you can compare anything. Like, someone like, I don't know, that prefers this, or someone that's got long hair. Go up to them and saying that you like this with like a dog. Like, when it comes to monkey, do you know how deep when I went to bed, I sat down and thought, Do you know how much I've overthought this even more? To think it is even more racist, like to make me think it's even more of a racial thing than I thought it was with Pearl. It's because in my head I thought, what colours are they? Everyone's like, if they're orange, they're orange. And I'm like, they're like not like, you know, as in like dark coloured as the gorillas, like black skinned, yeah? So I'm like, Laura's mixed race. So in my head I was like, are you actually being gaslightingly quite clever and calling her a mixed race monkey? By calling her an orangutan.
Wow.
So if you're gonna flip the what ifs, like we can all do that. I can go and do that too. Do you know what I mean?
You know what, Paige? In your credit, though, you didn't do that though. You have been so fucking.
I bought it.
Yeah, but you did.
Paige, I have a question
You could have
for
gone
you.
after her so bad, but do you know what, Paige? You didn't. And that's what I want to concentrate on, because anyone that listens to what you just said, I don't want anyone to forget the fact that you have been so fucking calm and just a bit unbiased about the whole situation, because you could have done, but you didn't. And you've just proven that you had the right and the intelligence, to have looked into that further and deeper, but you didn't, did you? And that's what I think people need to clock in this world, about the reality of people that want to bring people down and the reality of the people that want to go, do you know what? This ain't a good thing, but I'm not going to make this worse than what it needs to be. I'm going to kind of give people opportunity to work out what's right and what's wrong for themselves. And I'm going to educate you on what's right and what's wrong, and you lot are going to make up your own fucking minds. I'm not going to add fuel to the fire. You have been water in this situation. And I know other people might not want to agree with me, but I've watched her, mate. She has been water. She has not been fuel. She has tried to cool this down so fucking. I'm sorry, Paige, because I don't want to take away.
Have your moment, mate. Salty silk.
You have been water, mate, and you should be fucking so proud of yourself. Honestly.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing as well? Because I keep seeing, she says it to her grandkids or she says it to her friends. We're not going to compare, because she's not telling, well, I hope she wouldn't be telling her grandkids, you effing her, do you get what I'm saying? She's not doing that. So let's stop comparing the two. What she said was wrong. I don't care if she said it to her grandkids, the shopkeeper, her flipping, I don't care. She said it to a black woman, right? And in a very aggressive way. Yeah. So let's stop, because she don't talk to her grandkids like that.
That's what I mean, guys. It wasn't gooey, you cute little monkey. Like, oh, cutie, cheeky little monkey. Yeah. Like you talk to a kid or a dog. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was a bite. I keep watching the video back, and I'm like, and now I feel like tomorrow's going to be like the video of Rickster, where he's like, you don't like white people, do you? And now I'm like, it's just racist. Reveal yourselves. That's how I feel like.
It should be like a scarlet letter thing, shouldn't it? You know, like they used to in that age. You know, you should just have to walk around with something on you so that you know where to conserve your energy and where not to waste your time. Because this was something else I brought up on Mixed earlier. Like, somebody jumped in the box. I can't remember who it is. That's inconsequential information anyway. But, you know, to say that white people should not be having these conversations. They should not be having the spaces. And they're not the people that should be educated.
I know. Yeah, 100%.
I feel like in the instance where you've got a white creator that has a big platform and that can expose a black educator to a wider audience, I don't necessarily feel that there's anything wrong with that. If they're doing it for the right reasons, you know, their motivation is the right thing. But I think Kenzino's mum was in there as well when I said, at the end of the day, we live in 2024. Most people have access to the internet. And as white people, we should not be dumping all of this on the shoulders of black educators. You know, do your own research, look your own shit up, learn your own stuff, you know, because I don't think enough people realise
I used to be a mental health advocate, and do you know one thing I would always say?
Thank you, Jenny, with the belly. That was amazing.
Never expect me to understand somebody else's journey. Regardless of what my knowledge is about mental health, I can't explain my mental health or let anybody know about my experiences because they're not me. So unfortunately, the way that we're going to sit there and say, I understand what you're saying, but you see how Paige has lived her life and she's experienced what she's experienced, and the discrimination, the good times, the bad times, everything she's experienced in her life, no one will ever be able to explain that apart from Paige. And we would be insulting her to say that we understand what she's going through, or even another black person would be insulting her sometimes to say, I understand, because Paige is an individual who's been on an individual journey. The only person will ever be able to explain her fucking journey is her. No other fucker will ever be able to do
No,
that.
but can I
I feel like Glenn's a bit of my advocate right now. Thanks, Glenn.
You've got your own
because I
personal.
think you've missed the point.
I know, thanks, Glenn. Glenn, thank you for coming up, though. There's a
Jelly
couple
with the
people in
belly
the
said
queue.
something really important in terms of, it shouldn't always be on our shoulders to educate everybody. And I do understand what you're saying, silent operator, because, Paige has a story, I have a story, Tori, everyone has a story, and only we can tell our stories. However, there are plenty of books out there on
there's
these
enough
types
resources.
of topics that you can go and read.
I was just
plenty of
gonna
YouTube
say
videos
you
that
can
go and watch.
self-educate nowadays.
There's so much on TikTok and the internet that you can go and research. So whilst
Can I tell you
it
something,
is,
though? You ain't ever gonna read about me in a book unless I writ it.
pardon?
You're never gonna read about me in a book unless I writ that book.
Yeah,
Does that
no,
make sense?
and that's what I'm saying. I do understand what you're saying, because what you're essentially saying is you want to hear from Paige because you love and respect Paige and you want to follow her journey, and that's okay. There isn't nothing wrong with that. But just to expand your knowledge and learning, I'm just saying that you can go and
Oh,
pick
100%.
up a book as well.
Yeah. And you can speak to other people and debate it and
Yeah.
understand it and discuss it and read about it. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, people, whether it's Paige, is it Torin, the other girl that's been around you, Paige, that's been doing
Yeah, Torin, she's above you.
She's above
So
you.
hello Torin, like you're another person that's done an amazing job in explaining yourself and expressing yourself. I know you've got into some debates and some arguments, but you know what? Throughout all of that, you still conducted yourself pretty amazingly, to be fair, because you were getting literally people digging at you, wanting to get a real reaction out of you, and you fucking held yourself. And I respect that, like I really do, because as I say, I was a person myself that has questioned this whole thing, and like you lot, between you and Paige, you have seriously educated me, calmed my brain down, and let me look at the facts and the reality of what's going on. Yeah, and not let the media and all the other bullshit that's going on, because I thank you, because anybody that's took the time to listen to you two, they will realise that this is society trying to turn us on each other. We could be a force together rather than fucking enemies. Does that make sense?
100,000,000%. Thank you, mate, for coming up. I really appreciate that.
But I also think as well, as black creators, Torian and Paige are held to different standards, because if they reacted the way human nature would dictate, in that, you go off the handle and go on one, they're then
Not that a
aggressive
credit.
black women.
But is that not a credit to them? Have they not just shown society that they're talking shit? Have they not just proven what you're being told as bullshit? They have, because I know Paige in a different light. I know her for her poetry, her amazing creativity with words, her education. I know her in a different, you got to understand, I didn't know Paige from all this. This is a new side of Paige that I've had to listen to and educate myself from. Yeah, in the last however many days. I knew her from somebody who was creating words and poetry, talking about things in a real educational fucking amazing way. And I've watched her
But
turn
she's been
that
doing this
into
for a
something
long
else.
time. This
She has.
isn't
She's been doing it
new
since
for
about
Paige.
2013. But she's been doing it away from the app, because do you know what everyone's saying? Clout chaser, blah, blah, blah. She's done this quietly away from the app. I didn't even know about this side of her. That goes to show that she's not doing this about. She's not doing this because she wants attention.
I don't fire up. Do you know what it is, Glenn? I don't fire up.
I don't know who's saying that. I've never heard anybody say that about Paige, because I would have shut that down real quick.
That's what they were telling us.
It's just because, do you know what it is? I've not been quiet on the app. I don't run my own lives a lot. I don't like big lives.
No, you don't.
A lot of the time I won't run my own lives, but I'm always in a box. I'm always somewhere shouting at some racist. But Glenn, I'm gonna drop you down, darling, because there's a few people in the box. But thank you for coming up. It was lovely. Thank you. Thanks for your nice words. Oh, have a nice night.
Paigey, I have a question for you, love.
Yes, my love. Oh, there was someone called Emma and someone else in the box, but they've gone. Go on, babe.
Okay. Now I have family and that are mixed, and all different ethnicities and everything. And I've dated outside of my race, and I get, even on this app, because of the friends that I keep and the DJs like Morello and Trax and everybody that I'm always live with, or they're always live with me, I get a lot of people coming in and calling me, you know what, lover, and asking me, do you even like white boys, this and that. And I get a lot of like, and if I'm dating someone outside of my race, I catch more hell here. I don't know, is it like that there? Because here
Yeah, it's not obviously. I know in America and certain places it's like whoa, no. It's not like obviously shunned upon here. There's so many interracial couples here, but when you are with both sides round, even when I was with my partner, obviously my recent partner, he would get like looks sometimes, like, do you know what I mean? Like, kind of thing, and vice versa.
Oh, it's
like,
straight hate here. You get straight hate here.
A lot of the things they have here is they say things like, oh, you're going to run away with a black man. Like, that's an older saying that still gets used. Or like the typical of your baby.
Oh,
like,
you couldn't find, or you couldn't find somebody.
Yeah. Like,
it's always some backhanded comment.